And my man here is
I'm Aaron Tomlinson. Good to be with you, Derrick, and all the viewers.
good to be with you too, man. And before we get too far down the path, what's in the glass? Let's deal with the important stuff first.
So I have a Zinfandel tonight. I decided to go.
Zinfandel. Now, I don't even know what it's Nero Dovola, Nero Dovola, something Sicilian. How about that?
Cool.
So yeah, it's my first time having it, but it was I'm running low on my red wine supplies, so I said let me grab the first thing, and I'm drinking wine today, and I told you this in the green room, but uh, for all y'all that need to know or care to know, I got the Rona. So this is Freeology Friday, the Rona edition. So
Funny because I have a tickle in my throat. Keep feeling like I have to cough, so I'm hoping it's not a bad omen for me.
well, man, I hope not. I hope not, because this is not the worst that I've had, and they told me because I was vaccinated that it's probably like a lot, you know, better than it could be.
Right.
So anyway, so I'm drinking this red wine because Paul, who I often say fuck Paul, told Timothy. And fuck Timothy too, but drink a little wine for your stomach's sake. So I don't know, maybe that might be the only good piece of advice in the Bible. Just drink some wine. It'll all be all right.
Yeah,
So,
I decided to go light. I had a exhausting week, so I thought, man, at first I was going to go strong. I was going to get some scotch or something, and then I
yeah.
thought if I do that, I might pass out right in the middle of Freeology Friday. You'll be trying to get a hold of Julie and say, "Hey, check on your husband."
Yeah, it's like you kind of go down like the windshield wiper. Boom.
Exactly. Exactly. So I haven't been sleeping great this week either. So
Oh man.
it is what it is.
Well, I slept better this week than I did over the weekend. It's like over the weekend I was in the bed all weekend, but I just tossed and turned, and I've got one of those bamboo mattress topper things,
Yeah.
and and so and because I'm quarantining, I don't have my wife to balance it out, so I'm pulling this thing off and I'm almost falling out of the bed.
Oh man. Oh man.
So so anyway, that's the story of my life. But let's go ahead and get to the topic tonight. And I brought this up because I'm sick, right? And it's like just one of these things that I think maybe if I preach to myself, I'll feel better, kind of thing. We used to say, you got to preach it to yourself first, right?
Yes.
Like in the
Yes.
preaching days.
Yes.
Uh, but physical fitness, and and I have a confession to make, and that is this. Like, I think I'm really close. I'm not at my all-time high weight, but I'm at the highest weight that I've been at in probably about close to 30 years,
Mm.
right? And and the good thing is that I have I'm tall and I'm broad shouldered, so I have ways of kind of masking the weight, and I'm athletic, so it doesn't really harm me so much. But I've reached a point where I said, okay, I'm really not taking care of myself the way I should,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to get back to that, because I never forget. Like, I um, ran across a guy who well, he went through the same kind of spec ops training that I went through, and he came to me and said, "Hey, you want to be in shape like that again?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so that was like 6 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and up until like maybe 4 years ago, I was like in really fantastic shape.
Yeah.
Um, but then things happen. You get sick. Work happens. The pandemic and all of these other things, and suddenly you realize you're not in good shape. But the one thing that I did, I made a post, and it was I was posing with my car, and it was just a full length body post. And I said, I'm posting this for two reasons. One is that I want everyone to know that, I'm not ashamed of my body. I'm not. I won't. I'm not ashamed to go out in public. I'm not ashamed to go to the beach. I'm not ashamed of any of that. Um, and then the second thing is that I know how I got here, and I want everybody to know that first of all, no matter what your body type is, whether you're thin, whether you're thick, whether you're tall, whether you're short, um, do not let anyone shame you because of your body type. Be comfortable in the skin you're in, because here let me say this, because even until, like, let's say you have an ideal body type that you want to achieve, until you get to that ideal, you're going to be where you are, and you're going to be at a number of where you are's along the way. And if you get to any of those where you are's and you get discouraged, you'll get stuck there and you won't get to the ideal. Or let's just say, like, there was a television show from the 70s called What's Happening, and there was one of the guys, they called him Rerun, Fred Rerun Barry. And this guy, he was always struggling with his weight. He had always been overweight. But this guy was a fantastic dancer, a martial artist. He had been a collegiate level wrestler, but he is big, right?
Right.
And so people would body shame him, and they made jokes about it on the show. But this guy could have kicked anybody's ass on the show, right? And so the thing is that, yes, you want to make sure that you are in the best shape that you can be to do all of the things that you want to do, right? You don't have to be in marathon running shape unless you're going to run marathons. You
Right.
don't have to be in fighting shape unless you plan on fighting in the UFC or something, right? But you should be in the best shape for you, and wherever you land physically, you should be happy with you. So that's what I want to start off with, is that, you know we want to talk about physical fitness, talking about eating right, talking about drinking right, talking about living right, not spiritually, y'all, but living a good life so that you live a long life. So Aaron, over to you, my brother.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you started it with the whole issue of shame, because health is kind of like, for me anyway, it's kind of like going to a parenting class or a marriage class. And what I mean by that is, it's really easy to feel guilty, because they'll tell you, what you should be doing, or what you should be doing, and you're not doing it. And so it's really easy to feel guilty about it, right?
Yep.
And so I really appreciate you kicking it off that way, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's health is a personal decision, right? And I think, especially for those of us, I'm sure you're the same way. I mean, we're both geared towards being high achievers, and so when we set out to do something, we want to do it extremely well.
Yep.
So, I was one of those people too, going back to 2017, probably, for years prior to that, I was in the gym 5-6 times a day, 5-6 times a week. And I was doing, both weight training and cardio, and I was eating right, eating all whole foods, staying away from processed foods and all that stuff. And I felt good. And then life happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And about 2017 is when I fell off the wagon. And then with my health, with my workout routine.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, so I'm gonna be 51 next month. Yeah, next month. I had to think whether we're in August or July still, but next month I'll be 51. So when I was 49, my 49th birthday, I decided, okay, I'm gonna get myself back in shape. I'm gonna do all the right stuff. I'm gonna check all the boxes. I'm gonna be eating right. I'm gonna lose weight. All this stuff. So that when I turn 50, at least I'm meeting 50 with, being in the best shape I can possibly be at my age, so I can stay young and vibrant and, keep up with my kids, all that good stuff. Right. And so I gave I gave myself 6 months to indulge, 6 more months to indulge, because I figure if I start January, this is when I was 49, if I start January, I got 6 months. By the time I hit 50, I'll be great. I'll reach my goal. Well, that didn't happen. And so I guess about 3 months ago, this funny story, 3 or 4 months ago, I was stepping on the scale and I was the most I've ever weighed. And like you, I'm tall, I'm broad shouldered, so I didn't look bad, but I did have quite a belly, I guess. So I was getting ready to go on the cruise. This is March. We're going on the cruise in June. And I thought, I'd like to lose a little bit of belly fat so that I can look better for my pictures.
Yeah.
That's as shallow as it was, man. I just want to look better for my pictures.
I can dig it.
And so I was going to the grocery store and I was buying all the healthy stuff, kale and spinach and, all this health food stuff, sprouts and fish. So my cart is full of all this stuff. And I thought, I want some fried chicken. So I'm going to have this be like my last hurrah, right? Like I'm going to go in the deli and I'm going to have some fried chicken. I'm going to take it home and have it for lunch. So I'm in the deli and I asked the guy for the fried chicken dinner. And he says, what do you want for sides? He says, we got macaroni and cheese. We got French fries. We got mashed potato, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the guy standing next to him takes a look at my grocery cart. I could see his eyes, he looks at my grocery cart and he says, or if you want something a little bit more low calorie, we've got, like coleslaw, we've got, something else. And honest to God, the other guy that was selling me the fried chicken, he looked at this guy and looked at me. He said, does this look like a guy that counts his calories?
That's messed up.
And his name is Cliff. I remember that I saw Cliff. And I thought, okay, that was the motivation I needed. That was the motivation right there that I needed. And so I thought, so for motivation, it's funny, you got to play mind games with yourself sometimes to stay motivated. So the cruise, wanted to look better for the cruise, and Cliff, I was like, I'm going to get down about 30 pounds was my goal.
Yeah.
And when I've lost 30 pounds, I'm going to go back to that grocery store. I'm going to find Cliff. I'm going to say, hey, buddy, I know you don't remember this.
Look at me now. Yeah.
I'm petty that way. And but anyway, so I was able to, for the most part, I haven't gotten back in the gym yet, but I've been walking and I've lost, since March, I've lost 22 pounds. So I still got 8 to go for my goal, but just went to the doctor. Just my blood work was great. All my counts, for all of you out there that think I drink too much, my liver counts were fine. You're not getting rid of me that easy. And other than just battling with some insomnia, I feel pretty good.
Okay. Well, with that insomnia thing, I hope you're like not turning into Tyler Durden or anything like that, right?
Dude, the battle is real. I went and had a sleep study. I went and had a sleep study and got the results yesterday, and it came back normal. So,
oh wow.
What are you gonna do?
So you don't need the CPAP or any of that good stuff.
No, I thought it was. I thought, well, shit. I've had high blood pressure. Here's something else with health. I've had high blood pressure since I was in my 30s, and I did everything. I mean, I was when I was, late 30s, early 40s, early to mid 40s. My resting heart rate was 53 consistently. I could run 2 miles, no problem. I wasn't overweight. I did the DASH diet. I wasn't eating a bunch of sodium or a bunch of, crap. And I still had high blood pressure. And so then, you try the herbal route, and I was doing, all these herbs that they suggest for your heart. And I tried that. Nothing. And so finally, part of health, right? I finally just had to be like, okay, I'm just going to take a pill.
Yep.
So with my medicine, my blood pressure is good. My heart rate's good. I'm losing weight and I am feeling better. But the point to all of that was, I don't want this to turn into something where people feel guilty because they got too far to go, or they don't want to go all the way. They don't want to go a whole food diet, or, whatever, or, be in the gym 5-6 times a week like I was. I'll probably never ever go back to that, but I would like to, at least know if I have to change a tire or something, I'm not going to tear a bicep.
Yeah.
Getting older is real, man. It's the battle is real.
Man. I'm happy to say, like, I just finished building a gym in my garage. I just finished it right before I got sick. Matter of fact, I have my garage floor epoxied, so it's got this nice finish to it, and then I put diamond matting all in the third bay of the garage, and so that covers that whole thing. And then we have like a Smith's machine that I built in there. We got an exercise bike, and we got a treadmill on order. So all of these things, we're gonna have all of the stuff to basically, have a full body workout.
Yeah. I lost Derrick. I don't know if everybody else lost Derrick, but I lost Derrick. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. I'm just going to check and see if. Hold on one second. Yeah, he looks pretty froze. Hold on one second. Yeah, he froze up. Okay, thanks, Vincent. I'm just going to text him real fast. we were watching. My son was watching one of the Frozen Chosen, Ben. That's funny. My son, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's Man versus Bee. It's got the guy that played Mr. Bean in it, and so my son wanted to watch it, and so we were watching Man versus Bee, and he would get these calls from his ex-wife. He'd get these FaceTime calls. The Mr. Bean guy would get the calls from his ex-wife. And so when she would start talking about an uncomfortable conversation, he'd just freeze up like this and not move, so that she thought his signal got messed up. So that just made me think of that. So I'll tell you what, I don't feel like doing this whole episode by myself, and I don't have the controls to let somebody in the green room or anything like that. So I'm going to go over the comments and interact with those a little bit, because Derrick's telling me his whole internet went out. So dang, we just got started too. So maybe I'll interact a little bit with the comments, and we'll just see where it goes. But yeah, I don't really feel like doing this all myself. Brittany says, yes, I can tell within my body. I'm getting older too. I'll be 40 in about a year and some months. Oh, there's Derrick. There we go. Right. I was scrambling, dude.
I'm glad you were able to keep going, man.
It wasn't pretty. I don't know if you heard any of it, but I was telling him there's a movie out on, I think, Hulu called Man versus Bee that Josiah wanted to watch. And it has the Mr. Bean character. I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy that plays
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah. And he gets these FaceTime calls from his ex-wife. And when she gets to an uncomfortable topic that he doesn't want to deal with or something, he would just pretend to freeze up. So he'd go like this. He'd go, just hold perfectly still. She'd say, oh, his connection froze up again. So I thought maybe that's what Derrick's doing.
No. That's hilarious. I have to remember that.
I know, right?
When you're on a Zoom call for work, and somebody asks you a question that you don't have the answer,
if you're a place where you don't have a lot of background noise, or they can't tell it's you could always just mouth words.
Yeah.
Too,
Hey, well, I was going to say there's always mute, but then like they can see when you're muted. There's a little icon that shows that you're muted.
We're just sharing life hacks tonight. That's all we're doing.
That's what it is, man. Because that's what this show is all about. It's about helping people overcome real life situations, right?
That's right. How to work smarter and not harder.
Exactly. Let me tell you here. That's a cue for some more wine.
Yeah.
So I missed probably like the last 30 seconds because of the internet.
Yeah. Shit, I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, I think we're talking about health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't remember what I was saying though. Really. If somebody remembers, they can cue us up.
You know what? Okay, so that brings up another good point, because as we get older, right, we have to worry about what? Our mental faculties, right? We got to make
Oh, yeah.
sure that
Oh,
we
yeah.
are able to continue to function mentally, right? And that
Yeah.
has to do with physical health. So, there are things that I take supplements like ginkgo biloba, right? That's supposed to be good for memory, and also take magnesium supplements, which that's supposed to be good for helping offset any dementia or Alzheimer's, things like that. And then also watching what I eat, and basically there's a link between aluminum and
Mhm.
Alzheimer's, right?
Right.
So I'm very aware of the deodorant that I use now, and the types of cookware and cutlery that I use. Am I using a lot of aluminum? And so I'm really mindful of things like that, and aluminum cans, things like that, because here's the other thing too, is that there's another thing that's it's a big up and coming thing called people are studying the effects of nitric oxide in your bloodstream. And so you were talking about high blood pressure,
Mhm.
which I deal with that also, and and also cardiovascular disease, which I don't have, but because I've had heart trouble in the past, they say, okay, follow this regimen as a prophylactic. So I'm including things like beetroot powder
Yeah.
to increase the nitric oxide production, and that helps. And that and apple cider vinegar, in conjunction with the medical regimen that I have, those help to keep my blood pressure low, and also they help me to regulate my resting heart rate.
Mm.
So all of that, and all of that has to do with your brain, because if blood flow is interrupted to the brain, then you can't think straight, you can't sleep right, your overall function is inhibited, and not only does it impact your conscious brain function, but it also it affects the subconscious, because your subconscious brain functions are dependent on brain function overall, right? So one of the things that we want to talk about today, I think that this is really important, is making sure that your brain health is good, that
Yeah.
your brain needs blood to survive, and it needs well oxygenated blood, which means that you need to make sure that your blood oxygen levels are good, that your blood flow is good, all of these things, because and again, with this, let me say this, and I'll kick it back to you, is that one of the problems that we have is that we tend to try to spot correct, right?
Mhm.
In other words, we'll treat a symptom instead of treating an underlying cause.
Right.
And what we need to do is we need to get to holistic solutions for our health, right? Because the
Mm.
body is a system,
Right.
and everything works together as a system. And so if one thing is off, then everything will be off.
Right.
And if you're like, let's say if you're treating something for your brain, but you're ignoring your liver. Well, any fighter knows that a good liver punch is enough to disrupt the brain temporarily, right?
Right. Right.
So you have to treat everything as a system.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So I think also to hit on this, understanding how, at least generally, understanding how health works, and understanding that there's not these quick fixes or
Yeah.
just because something works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. And so I guess, like just trying to lose belly fat, so I'm Googling, reading articles and YouTubing and whatever. And invariably you come across these videos, where they're trying to sell you something, drink this one juice a day
Yep.
or 1 cup of this a day and you'll burn belly fat while you sleep. Or,
Yep.
I went through when I was trying to do my blood pressure without taking blood pressure medicine, all kinds of stuff, that they would tell you do this and do that. And that'll be the fix. So yeah, I've read the same thing about, in fact, I just started adding beets to my diet, beet juice and beet supplements. And apple cider vinegar helps me lose weight too. So I knew that. So I can't stand the stuff, but
Yeah.
I'll drink about a teaspoon of that every morning in some water with fiber. That's how old I'm getting. Because I'm going to sit there and eat wheat germ cereal.
Yeah, I know.
My grandpa used to eat that stuff, man. It was nasty. But also, the other thing when you're talking about like your, I was going to say something about oxygen levels too and how it impacts. I'm gonna have to work on that brain health because it just went out the window.
Well, no,
I've been really sleep deprived this week, so I know some of my cognitive functioning just is not where it needs to be because I just have not slept good for about 4 days straight.
like I said, as long as you don't wake up in Los Angeles someplace, then we're good. Starting underground fight clubs or things like that.
Yeah. No, I remember now. I remember. So your blood oxygen level actually works with your insulin resistance as well. So
Yes.
if your blood oxygen is low, then your insulin resistance can be poor, and that can make it hard for you to lose weight or make it easy for you to gain weight. So absolutely, everything works together as a system. So understanding how health works and understanding there aren't any shortcuts to it, there aren't any quick fixes. Your body works best when you work with it the way it's meant to work, and that includes sleeping and includes oxygenating and taking care of brain and all that stuff.
Yep. And that's another thing too. Like you were talking about going into the gym and doing cardio and doing strength training. And honestly, you have to do a combination of the two, because people will get really focused on cardio because they think that getting into that fat burn zone, that 115 plus heart rate zone, that you get there, you stay there for 20 minutes, then you're going to lose the weight. But what they're learning is, or what science is revealing, is that it's not just the cardio, but also strength training, that they're working large muscle groups, even in slow, low reps, right? That has a tremendous impact on weight loss, and also it has a tremendous impact on muscle gain, which muscle fat will begin to displace fat by basically it programs your body, like if you have dense muscle in one space and white fat in the same space, that muscle will begin to displace and cause that white fat to be consumed, right? But then there's another thing, right? Speaking of white fat, and I talked about white fat because they also have discovered this thing called brown fat, and that people who are high in brown fat tend to be over, their overall health tends to be higher. So there are people that may have the appearance of obesity, but when if you were to do a spectral fat analysis of their body, you'll find that they have a higher ratio of brown fat to white fat, and as a result, they're still in really good physical health, even though their outward appearance would indicate otherwise. So, one of the things, and let me say this, we probably should have said this at the beginning, that this is not physical advice that you should,
yes.
Get the advice of a physician before doing any of this stuff, because the thing is that your doctor can help you. And honestly, let me tell you this, because like a lot of doctors are not as skilled in nutrition as they should be. but a good physician will point you in the direction of a good nutritionist, right?
Mhm.
And then they will work together to develop a treatment plan that helps you get on the right path to overall good health. And again, it's not just a matter of losing weight; it's a matter of, okay, if you have if you have 2 flights of stairs in your house, can you climb those 2 flights of stairs easily? You
Right.
know, if your let's say your bus stop is 5 blocks from your home, can you walk comfortably to that bus stop? And then let's say you have 10 blocks from your bus stop, your end stop to work. Can you walk that fine? And all of those things, basically, what can your body do? And let me tell you this, my friend Eric, who was training me, Eric said that your body should not know the difference between whether you're in the gym doing vigorous exercise or whether you're wrestling a fucking tiger.
Mm.
He said basically your body shouldn't know the difference. It's like that when if you're in the gym, your body should be under the impression that it is, in a life or death situation, right? And likewise, obviously, if you're in a situation with a tiger, well, that is life or death, right? That's not obviously going to the gym. So, we want to make sure that what we do for our exercise routine, that it leads us up to being able to do the things that we need to do. Like, you got 2 young sons, right?
Right.
So you want to get out and kick the soccer ball with them, throw the football with them, throw the baseball with them, run and chase them around the yard, whatever, right?
Right.
That is the that is the level of fitness that you need to be at in order to be an effective and fun dad, right?
Yep.
So when we talk about what does our exercise program consist of, it should consist of exactly what you need to do exactly what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing that I've learned recently too, because for years there was that belief that, you get your heart rate at a certain level based on your age and burning fat, after 20 minutes or something like that. But what they are finding now is you also put your body in a state of extreme stress with
Mhm.
prolonged, intense aerobic exercise. And so what that does is it releases a bunch of cortisol in your body. Now,
Yep.
cortisol is a steroid.
Yep.
It absolutely comes from the same thing as cortisone,
Yep.
or what's the stuff they give you? They might have given you some for COVID, prednisone,
Yep.
all those stuff. Like, so it's a steroid. So people who take a bunch of steroids, that steroid or cortisol tells your body to hold on to body fat.
Yep.
So anybody that's ever, had a loved one or someone that you knew that had to take steroids on a consistent basis, they usually puff up, they usually gain weight. And so you're actually working contrary to yourself, because you're burning fat, but you're also releasing a steroid into your body at the
Yep.
same time. But I want to touch on something I think is really important, and because you talked about your doctor and or just your trainer, I think it's important to seek out the advice of experts, and like
Yes.
we've talked on this program before, like about the death of expertise. And so I think it's really important to listen to the experts, but you're always responsible for your choices. And
Yep.
so I have really approached, especially this last go round with my medical provider, it's been a very collaborative effort. And by that, I mean, I'm going to sit there and listen. I'm going to ask questions, but I'm not just going to, here's a prescription, take this. No, that doesn't sound like that's right for me.
Yep.
I'm not sure I want to do that. Is there another approach? Can I try a different kind of medicine? Can I try this? If I'm exercising more, if I'm doing more aerobic or anaerobic exercise, could that possibly help with my sleep disorder that I seem to have developed? And so if you don't have a provider that's into collaboration, if they feel threatened because you looked something up on the internet. And I get a lot of them will, because you got a bunch of people that don't know how to vet stuff. They'll look stuff up on the internet and come up with crazy stuff, like they're putting nanobots and nanobot technology in your body, and they'll throw that out at the doctor. I'm not talking about that kind of nonsense. So there's this balance, right, between I know better than the doctor, or I know better than the personal trainer, and no, I want to listen to their advice. I want to listen to their expertise, but I want them to collaborate with me. I want them to partner with me. I don't want them to dictate to me what I do in regards to my health choices.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. You know, you want to have someone who's going to collaborate with you, who's going to partner with you, and not try to overwhelm you with their knowledge. Because here's the thing, right? You know your body better than anybody.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like if your doctor is telling you something that that your body is not going to agree with, like say for example, you may not be the kind of person that really likes green vegetables, right? And saying and trying to tell you that, hey, you need to eat these green vegetables no matter what, is a prescription for failure, right? Because you don't like them, you know, you don't like the taste of them, you don't like the texture of them, so it's not going to work out. So what then can we do? You know, what can we do as far as fruit? What can we do as far as fiber? You know, what can we do with the proportion of say red meat to poultry kind of thing? You know, what kind of things can we do to offset that and make your body think that, you know, it's getting more green vegetables? Or maybe supplementation, right? Like for example, like kale, magnesium and calcium, you know, potassium is, kale is big on all those three things. So you may not like kale, and so we can say, okay, well, what kind of fruits? Well, you could do avocados, right? Because avocados have, you know, higher potassium, higher magnesium. So you can, you know, the things that you can offset that with. And so you need to have someone who's going to not only apply their knowledge, but apply their knowledge within the framework of what your body likes. Because again, you're headed to dietary failure if something like say for example, I'll use myself as an example. I don't like coconut. I absolutely detest coconut.
I'm with you.
Okay, cool, man. I knew there was another reason why I love you, but but coconut to me is the anti-bacon. You know, it's like, you know, as good as bacon is, coconut is just the absolute opposite. But there are a lot of health benefits to coconut. You know, there are you know, saturated fats that you get from coconut, and there are, you know, flavonoids and all of these other things that you get from coconut. And but I'm never going to eat coconut. I'm never going to eat coconut. So if the doctor says, okay, Derrick, you just need to incorporate more, sprinkle a little coconut on your granola, I'm going to be, man, fuck you. No, I'm not doing that, because that's the devil. I'm not eating that stuff, right? So that's you know, when you, so you made a really good point about partnership, knowing someone who knows you and knows your body type, and then someone who's going to listen to you tell them about what your body likes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's absolutely important. And I think it's important that people feel empowered to have that kind of relationship and to push back. The one thing I tell my clients in mental health counseling all the time, I tell them, you're the expert on yourself, you know, and all change comes from you doing the work. So this is a team effort. If I ever suggest something, or we try a treatment protocol that you don't like, it's very important to me that you push back on me with that. I welcome that. You know, Aaron, that didn't work for me. That messed me up. I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with this. I don't want to go there. I don't want to work on this issue. It's really important. Excuse me. Because like you said, you're the expert on your body. You're the expert on yourself. And at the end of the day, you're the one that has to live in whatever circumstance you create for yourself. Or so I love how, again, how you started the talk about find out what's right for you and what level of fitness is right for you. If you're not going to run a marathon, don't don't train like a marathon
Yep.
runner. If you're not going to be a UFC fighter, don't train like that. If you're not going to be a power lifter, you don't have to train in the gym like a power lifter. But I do think it's important, even with, I'll tell you this, Derrick, I will tell you this. I worked out all through my 30s and I saw some results, but I didn't see and weight training. I never felt like I was getting the results that I thought I should get. And so my motto was do more of the same. And my workout partners were people that had worked out for years. One of them was a professional bodybuilder, and I use professional in air quotes because he participated in a couple local bodybuilding competitions and placed. So I thought, oh, he's bodybuilder, he's got to know what he's doing, and I learned some things from him. But this last time when I was working out, I had somebody that really knew his stuff. That was my personal trainer, really knew his stuff. And all he did for the first month was break all my bad habits. And I couldn't believe how many bad habits I had. And I'm not one of these guys. Listen, I'm not the guy trying to curl more than Arnold could curl by, throwing. We've all seen that guy at the gym, yep. Right? I mean, I'm not that guy. But something as simple as posture, or because I'm more broad-shouldered, grabbing the bars in different places, a little bit wider grip than what I was before. Or when I was doing my back exercises, imagine that I'm pulling with my elbows rather than just pulling with my arms, right?
Yep.
And I had to go down a ton of weight, and it was embarrassing, and I would get pissed because if I would go up, I'd almost have to cut the weight I was doing in half. And we would only do 20 minutes per muscle group a week. 20 minutes, that's it. And Derrick, within 3 months, my body was transformed, and I finally saw the results I had kept wanting to see. And so the answer wasn't doing more of the same. The answer was doing a lot less,
yep,
but doing it differently. And I think that can apply to anything in life, right? So yep. Even I tell people, if you're going to go to the gym and you can afford it, find a good trainer, somebody that really knows what they're doing, and have them work with you on form and set out the exercises and stuff. Don't just try to go it on your own, because you won't get as good of results. And that's speaking from years of experience.
Yep. I know, like with me with running, I was a sprinter in high school. I think my all-time best, I ran a 4.45 in the 40. I mean, which is fast. That's really awesome. Fast. That's like NFL level fast.
Yep.
And I was always fast, but where I used to struggle was with distance running. And so I had a coach that told me, okay, here's the problem. Your posture, you're leaning forward in distance running like you are in a sprint. And that's causing your diaphragm not to get the right amount of air into your body. He says, so change your posture, get a little bit more upright, and then let your arms kind of flop. Don't be so rigid, because when you're sprinting, you're pumping, right? Yep. But he said, when you're running distance, he said, let your arms just kind of, flop, flopsy mopsy, he said. And that helped me to get my distance better. And it was just a little tweak, that allowed me to be able to run farther. Because I was thinking, hell, I'm a sprinter. I know what I'm doing. I don't need any help. But this guy showed me one little tweak that helped me. And that's the other thing too. So you were talking about professional help. Like I look at my son, Zach. Zach was a beanpole, right? But now he's like, he's Hulk Jr., right? Because he's swole up. Well, he started working out with people that learn how to target particular muscle groups, and he got some input from them, and he got advice on when to work out, when to superset, when not to superset, and things like that. How to pyramid, how to de-pyramid. and all of a sudden, his gains are tremendous, and I think Zach's probably close to 200 pounds right now. He's 6'2" and about 200 pounds. I mean, he's in really fantastic shape. And likewise, the same thing. Ducey is another one. Ducey was a beanpole, right? but
Yeah.
now he's got some trainers working with him at the gym, and I see his chest popping up and his shoulders popping up, and his back, and he's getting the gains that he's looking for. So when you know somebody who knows the path that you're going on and understands how to implement it in your routine, that is like worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was not a runner, dude. I was not a runner. Distance, sprinting, didn't matter. Now, I was a swimmer, but you have to have a swimming pool to get your cardio. A little easier to buy a treadmill.
Well, it was like I could swim. I mean, I've always been like a really good. Well, since high school, I've been a really good swimmer. But one thing I've always sucked at was treading water. I could never tread water. If I had to tread water, I'd die.
I was in cross country though. I will say that, but
Yeah, cross country is not for the faint of heart either.
No.
Yeah, because I think Zach ran cross country for one season, and he was just like, oh my god, this is like because some of his basketball buddies were running cross country, so that's what made him do it. But he was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I would run cross country to stay in shape between summer swim season and back then the boys swim season in high school was in the winter, so cross country was in the fall. So I just did it to stay in shape. But it wasn't my jam, believe me.
So let me ask you this, Aaron. Like,
Sure.
we're going forward, right? We're trying to, figure out what is the best way forward. What are some of the things that you're doing and incorporating into your life, into your regimen that you think are making a difference in your life?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So the first thing I know about myself is that I, like everybody, have a limited amount of willpower and attention. And so I don't try to change 5 things all at once about myself, or work on 5 things all at once about myself. So I realized I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to look better. So that was my goal. And I wanted to lose specifically the belly fat. Right.
Yep.
And so for me, what I have to do is I have to keep my attention and my focus. I have to read or watch something almost daily. Now that it doesn't have to be long. I found a health coach that on YouTube that he was legit. I checked his credentials, checked him out. He wasn't a quack or somebody pretending to be a doctor on YouTube. And but I liked his approach. But he would have anywhere from a 5 to 20-minute video. So if I was just sitting there scrolling instead of scrolling Facebook or whatever when I got home, maybe I just pull up a 5-minute video. Or back when I was in my 30s and I was doing it, I subscribed to like this blog. And so I'd make sure I read one blog entry on health every day or one article on health every day. And I did 2 things. That educated me, and so that I had more knowledge to make better choices. But it also kept me motivated. It kept me focused. So I realized this go round, like if I try to go all in like I was in my 30s, early 40s, forget it. Ain't going to happen. Not going to be sustainable. So all I did was started reading little articles and watching those videos. And then I know for myself, when it comes to dieting, that it is hard to eat healthy. And it's expensive to eat healthy. If you're just going to if you're going to go the full thing and eat all organic and all that stuff, that's a commitment. So I know for myself that what's worked for me in the past, and there's so many diets out there too, right? Like there's the keto diet, there's the Mediterranean diet, there's the, it's not as popular anymore, but there was the Atkins diet out there for a while. And so, and you hear all kinds of stuff, you hear keto's the way to go if you want to lose weight. And then because I work in a health clinic, the medical professionals there saying, no, you want to stay away from keto. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. So it's hard to know, right? So at the end of the day, I had to come back to what I know works for me, and that's intermittent fasting. And so if I give myself a 6 to 8 hour window to eat, and I just try to eat real food. So by that, I mean, fish, chicken without, because we get our meat without all that, injected crap
Yep.
in it, hormones and all that stuff. But fish. Plus, I knew I got some blood work done, so I started this out, like find out where I'm at, right?
Yep.
So I knew I had a vitamin B deficiency, and so I looked at what are some foods that are high in vitamin B. I got on the supplements, but I didn't want to.
You are related somewhere along the line.
I didn't want to just do the supplements. I wanted to get some of it naturally because I feel like my body converts it better that way.
Yep.
So I just started doing that. I just started doing the intermittent fasting, and I stayed away from the M&Ms, and I stayed away from sugary drinks, which I don't really care for anyway. But I wasn't a big pop drinker. But you notice I haven't been drinking Moscow Mules because it's got ginger beer in it and stuff. So I tried to do some simple stuff like that, and I focused on that. I'm just going to focus on eating right. And then after a few weeks of doing that, then I was like, okay, I'm not going to try to get back in the gym and lift weights right now because I'll die. And I've been having neck issues and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk because I sit all freaking day long, right? So I'm just going to start walking. So literally, I find the furthest parking place from my office that I can find, so that I'm taking that many more extra steps to get to my office, and that many more extra steps when I get back. When I go to the grocery store, I park at the end of the parking lot so I can walk the parking lot, walk the grocery, so just stuff like that to add walking. And then maybe if I have a chance, I'll go out and walk 20 minutes around the campus, and that's it. Yeah. And my resting heart rate went from, 75, 78. Mm-hmm. And when I went for the sleep study, they did put the oximeter on me. My resting heart rate was 58. And I haven't even been doing hard cardio or working weights or anything like that. So I think it's just, for me, the incremental changes, the educating myself and staying focused on what I'm doing and not trying to overachieve and taking it one step at a time. So I don't know if that's the kind of answer you were looking for, but
that's perfect. I mean, and it's funny because you mentioned intermittent fasting, and I'm doing the same thing, right? But my challenge is, I don't really have an issue with sweets, right? Mm-hmm. What I do have an issue with are things like, potato chips, pretzels, snack foods, popcorn, right?
Oh, dude.
And that's the kind of stuff that I like. I'm not a big sweet eater. It's like every now and then I'll have me a piece or two of dark chocolate, right? And that's it. I don't really have a whole lot of sweets. I don't drink a whole lot of soda. As a matter of fact, I had a Dr. Pepper today, and I think that was the first Dr. Pepper that I've had in a year. Yeah. Literally. So I don't struggle with those things, but what I do struggle with, I struggle with carbs, like rice, pastas, grains, potatoes.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a quarter Irish, so potatoes, and you want fries, you want mashed potatoes, you want hash browns, and all of that stuff, and so those are the areas that I struggle with. So if I can get those things under control, and I know this because like when I've been low carb, and I'm not necessarily going full keto, but like where I get most of my protein from lean meat or beans, and then I make sure that I'm getting good fat, from things like avocados and nuts and things like that. That's where I tend to have my greatest success. And even if I don't exercise, if I follow that eating routine, typically I see good results, because when I did intermittent fasting last year and lost 22 pounds, I think it was like in 4 weeks I lost 22 pounds. So I know it works. It's just a matter of getting on it, being faithful to it. But for me, the catch is that I'm about to turn 60 years old, and honestly, I want to live to see 100. And it's not just for any vain reasons. I figure that if I make it to 100, I'll see Anthony's first grandchild, right? And if I get to that point in life, then I'm great, because then I see my first great grandchild, right? And that would be more than enough for me.
Yeah. 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 That encourages me too, because you do start thinking, you know, how many more decades do I have
Yeah,
left on this planet? And I don't want to be, and so, that's funny how the brain works, right? So one of my things was, um, with drinking, I enjoy drinking. That's probably like doing this, on Friday nights. And I know if I cut that out completely, a lot of my problems would probably go
I
away.
hang on. I'm gonna give you a hall pass on this one, and let me tell you why. Right?
Okay.
Because um, if you're drinking like this every day, then
Right.
yeah, you probably have a problem, right? But if you're drinking like this once every Friday, probably not. I when I have my blood work done and all my liver, kidney functions, all of that, triglycerides, cholesterol, everything is good, right? And the only thing that I'm still challenged with is my A1C, which is like around a 6, which it should be around a 5, but it was like 7. So I'm trending in the right direction, right?
Hmm.
So the thing is, you're not. I don't think neither one of us is drinking and getting drunk on this show.
Right.
We drink and enjoy ourselves, but
Right.
neither one of us is getting drunk. So I just said that I had to throw that out there to give
Yeah.
you a hall pass on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that. What I was going to say was, I don't want to be, and this is where holistic health comes in, because I don't want to be like my dad. My dad, his body was messed up, and most of it was not his fault, because he worked in grain silos, and he was in the agricultural business, and so he was in those grain silos and beans, working around pinto beans, and worked around asbestos, and they didn't, back in the 40s and
Yeah,
50s and 60s and 70s and even 80s, you weren't even wearing the N95 masks. You were just breathing that shit in. And so he had pretty bad lungs, but his heart would not stop beating. His heart was strong. I mean, I think there for a while, the last couple of years, he'd go into a cardiac crisis because his oxygen would plummet every 6 weeks, and his heart rate would be up, gosh, I don't even remember. I don't want to exaggerate, but I want to say like 180 or something, and his oxygen's down in the 60s,
wow.
and that old man just kept going. And so my thing was, I'm not going to be so health conscious that I don't drink, don't ever smoke, um, I don't chew tobacco ever. That is gross, but you get my point.
Yep.
Like, because I don't want the rest of my body, and that's why with the weightlifting and the exercise is important to me, and it's something I want to add, because I don't want the rest of my body to give out, but my heart be strong and my liver be good
Yep.
and my kidneys are working. All my vitals are great, but I can't see, I can't hear, and somebody has to push me around in a wheelchair. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah, it's like I told my kids, I said, like, listen, if I ever get to the point where you have to change my diaper, that's pretty much a wrap for me. I got to be able to go to the bathroom on my own.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, quality of life is important too, and so that's why I want to look at the whole picture and not just. But where I was going with that was like, okay, I'm going to destroy my liver and make sure my lungs aren't working, so
Yeah.
my vital organs don't outlive my eyesight, my hearing, and my
Right.
my cognitive function. But boy, he's got a strong old heart there.
Got a great heart. His liver is barely producing anything, but his heart is it's ticking real good.
And I'll tell you what, with my neck issues, I've had more health issues this last year than I've ever had in my entire life. But with my neck, I finally got results back, and there was some serious stuff going on there with my neck, and just in chronic pain for months. And I just thought, I can't continue to live like this. And so, I'm fine now. I mean, I'm pain free now, but I still there's certain things I got to do to make sure I maintain that. But, I don't want to break down. If
Yeah.
I'm going to have I'd love to have another 50 years. and live to be 100.
Yeah.
Then I'm only at halftime, man. You're encouraging me. I was in the third period of a hockey season before this started. I'm not in a hockey season of a hockey game. I was at the end of the second period of a hockey game, and now I'm just at halftime in a
Right.
football game. But I want to make sure they're quality decades.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's not just living long, but living good. That's the key.
For
And
sure.
and I'm going to tell you something, man. Diagnostics will humble you, right? Because I went for a chest X-ray. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and so the chest X-ray said that like that there was something, there was a spot on one of my lungs that that they're going to observe, but they said it's consistent with obesity, right? And then there were also like uh, issues with my upper and mid range vertebrae that they said are consistent with obesity. And so basically this X-ray was just telling me, listen, look, your ass is fat. And that's what this diagnostic is telling us, and you need to be aware of this. So and here's the thing. Again, it's not just fat. It's not just, don't get caught up in the vanity part of it, right? What I'm the things that I'm looking at is like, okay, can diagnostic imagery properly diagnose me? And if there is something in my body that is the result of something that I've done that impedes the diagnostic, then that's something I need to fix. And so I'm not focusing on this from the standpoint of the vanity, like stop eating, fatty, right? No, that's not the point that I'm getting at. What I'm saying is that there are things that your diagnostics that the doctors will run on you that will show up differently because you're taking better care of yourself, irrespective of your weight. It basically it'll show up in terms of better diagnostic, better results, and better diagnostics, better results lead to better treatment, and your doctor is able to more effectively partner with you to make sure that your health is on point.
Yeah. Amen. That's good stuff. That I saw somebody suggested, I don't remember who it was, I saw it come up. Somebody suggested gabapentin, I think, for insomnia. Honestly, you know what I think would cure my insomnia, but I'm just not sure, so I haven't pulled the trigger yet. But I think one of those really, I think I need a new mattress. I mean, I'm hearing great things about purple mattresses.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's kind of like where I'm headed. Because we've got like this this real nice Sealy king size mattress, and then I have like this bamboo fiber mattress topper, right? And that to me is really good, but I'm thinking that I need something a little bit more sophisticated, that because the technology is better.
Yeah.
And so purple is one of those ones. Like I was like kind of on the whole Tempur-Pedic thing, but people say that Tempur-Pedic is full of fumes that can upset your respiratory tract, right? So it's like, purple seems to be the best alternative, so far.
I didn't know that. Tempur-Pedic is what I've had, and I've never liked it. And so that's my hesitation, because I bought the Tempur-Pedic back when it was the go-to thing, right?
Yeah.
And I've never liked it. And so everybody's like, purple is all I'm hearing about. And I'm just like, oh, man, I don't want to shell out whatever grand for a bed and then hate it again. And so, but I think that would help me. I think a new mattress probably help me as much as anything.
Well, somebody was telling me like they have those purple chair cushions, right? And so what somebody was telling me about this, they said if you have any doubt about purple and its effectiveness, get the purple chair cushion. It's less than $100, and sit on that for a while, and it will tell you whether or not that's something that your body would
That's an
would
idea.
appreciate. So I think that I'm going to go down that road and
That's a good idea.
see what
Sure.
happens.
Right.
So want to go through the comments real quick and yeah, so let's see. Taron Jerome Harris, I love him, man. He says the devil is busy. and Ben Urban says to Taron, he says, what else is new? And let's see. Vincent Allen says, not if you mute your mic and not Zoom. Mute your physical mic, they'll never know. Aha. Thank you for that's a life hack. Vincent just gave us a life hack there. Mute your mic, but not on Zoom. Let's see. And so Vincent says that doesn't mean we have to stop. Does that mean we have to stop drinking? No, Vincent, no. Keep drinking. Just don't over drink. Sandra Whitley says, is that you just mentioned her about gabapentin for the
Yeah.
insomnia?
Oh, that was Sandra. Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate all the tips. I really do.
Yeah. And Tommy, what was Tommy's last name? Dang it. Tommy Payne. Tommy said you might benefit from using a CPAP at night. I do use a CPAP. I do. Although in this COVID week, I haven't been using it consistently because I feel better not using it than using it. But
yeah, they ruled that out for me with the sleep study because I don't have any obstructions. So
well, that's great, man. Because and here's the thing too is that like there were so many promises about CPAP, right? They said, oh, if you get a CPAP, your blood pressure is going to come down and you're going to lose weight and all of these other things. And all of the things that CPAP promised, I haven't achieved any of them. The only thing that I can say is that when I do use the CPAP, I think I do sleep better. But as far as like all of these far-flung benefits, no.
Oh,
I'm
dude, they told me the same thing. They told me same thing, and I thought, oh, this, I'm not really keen on wanting to wear one of those things. Mostly because when I was in my 30s, I was traveling with pastors that were in their 50s, and they all had them, and I would make fun of them.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, shit, now I'm that guy. That's why Jesus said, judge not lest you be judged. That's why he said it.
And you dodged that bullet, man.
Yeah, well, but I was disappointed because I thought you were going to tell me this is going to fix my blood pressure. This is going to make me lose the rest of my body fat. This is going to take care of my insomnia.
Yeah. I mean, they promised me all of that, Aaron.
Yeah.
They said, just, and so like they have this app so you can check your sleep scores, and my sleep scores are consistently high when I use this, right? But still, I'm like, fuck, I'm not losing the weight, guys. So what's the point?
Right.
I think my wife benefits from the CPAP more than anybody else. Because we have this ongoing debate. Like, because I'll tell her like, hey, when I snore, you kick me, and she says, I don't kick you. I don't kick you. And then I remember one time I was snoring, and I mean, she like kicked me right in my ass, man, just kicked me right in the butt. And I run over and I'm like, see, I told you.
Let's see. See, Jennifer says, Aaron, I fell on my head at age 12 from the monkey bars to black pavement.
Ooh.
And I know the chronic neck pain you also suffer. It can wreck your life. I got 49 years to go to hit 100. Got to baby that neck. Purple's not good for married life. We had one for 30 days. It was awful. Okay, cool. Thanks for that feedback. Yeah, I don't know if I ever had an accident. They said, well, I don't want to go into all my personal stuff.
Well, they said that the Tempur-Pedic is not really good for married life either, because there's a certain Johnson rebound to married life. Let's just put it that way, and Tempur-Pedic tends to mask that a bit, Yeah, it's like when you're absorbing the how can I say it? You're absorbing what should be natural movements. RJ Fire says, sponsored by Purple.
I know, right? I know. We just did a commercial.
Fuck.
Let's see.
Jennifer says, Purple review. If you know what I mean, as a woman, you sink in and can't move. You know, that's one of those cases where TMI actually works. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah. No, that's important.
Yep.
Melatonin. I've tried melatonin. I've tried. This isn't a new problem. I've tried just about everything. I've tried melatonin, Z-Quil or whatever the hell, passion fruit, valerian root, tension tamer tea.
Tell me, Aaron, what is
a drill?
What is the first rule of Fight Club?
There is no Fight Club. Or no, we don't talk about Fight Club. I can't remember. I was going to watch that the other night too. I was looking for it.
Yeah, you know, like I have this thing with my kids, right? Like I'll tell them, say, hey, you need to watch this movie because this is a guy card movie, right? And they're like, Dad, I don't know, you know. And every time they watch a movie, they're like, holy fuck, you were right, you know. So it's like Ducey and Anthony, both of them are like, you know, Fight Club is one of my top 5 movies.
It's still, to this day, and no spoilers for people who haven't seen it, but to this day, it still freaks me out at the end.
I know. I mean, but you know, it's funny. Like, you know that this is where it's going, and when it gets there, you're like, I don't care how many times you see it, you're gonna be like, holy fuck,
dude. It's not one I've seen like scores of times, but I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times, and every time I'm just like, but anyway.
So I put the link out there in case anybody wants to join in on the conversation. Oh, John Philip Cunningham said the Lakota have banned religious missionaries. Yes, I did hear about that, and they're not the only one. There are a couple of indigenous tribes that have banned religious missionaries, and I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. I think that now I think that we should ban religious missionary work, period. But that's another thing. That's another discussion for another time.
I did a live video with a former missionary the other night.
Yeah, with Ellen.
With Ellen. Yeah, I can't remember Ellen's last name right off the top of my head. It's that age thing again.
Yeah, I can't remember her last name, but I did one with her a week before you.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah. It was good. All right. Well,
that looks like it. So
might be time for some peace and hair grease.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that peace and hair grease, and take care of yourself, and you know, live long and prosper. How do we do that? Yeah, like Spock. Yeah. Live long and prosper. All right, man. We're out of here. All right, love you, man.
Love you too, man. That's good. All right, later.